Army begins investigation into alleged extrajudicial killing of 11 Fulani in Kaduna State. Police arrest bandit leader in Niger State. Ganduje, Gawuna make Governor Yusuf's elders counsel. On the foreign scene, Namibia condemns Germany for defending Israel in ICJ genocide case. Many thanks for joining us on the News Hour. I'm Sagir Ibrahim. We start tonight with news that the Gombe State government has put modalities in place to establish an agency for the control of grazing reserves and cattle routes. According to the government, the decision is part of its ongoing efforts to prevent farmer-herder clashes in the state. Here's the report.
The move is part of the recommendations by the Committee on Addressing the Farmer-Herder Crisis, which was presented to the Gombe State Governor on Friday. The chairman of the committee said government at different levels, alongside traditional leaders, had granted encroachment of the available cattle route, which was a major cause of the farmer-herder clashes in Gombe State.
It is the committee's recommendation that government should establish Gombe State Reserves Protection and Management Commission, with the sole purpose of protecting, coordinating, and management of the gazetted reserves.
Governor Inuahaya vowed to take serious action against any traditional leader involved in the encroachment of grazing reserves in the state.
Few of farmers herders I've said this the day we inaugurated the committee. I say that if care is not taken and we don't address these issues, it's another problem that will cause a total collapse of the system. We'll study the documents, the reports that we have submitted carefully to the committees, white paper committees to review as soon as possible, and implementation will follow.
The state government had inaugurated the committee in June 2023 to investigate the encroachment of grazing reserves and cattle routes with the aim of recovering them to address the farmer-herder crisis in the state. Hassan Koli, Trust TV News, Gombe.
And Fulani leaders in Tilde Fulbe, Laduga community in Kachia local government area of Kaduna State on Saturday confirmed that the Nigerian army has begun investigation into the killing of 11 members of the community. Recall that Trust TV reported on how 11 decomposing corpses of Fulani from the community were discovered in a forest located near an area called Crossing within the local government area. The bodies were identified by relatives and community members as those of the Fulani allegedly arrested by soldiers in the area at different times. Meanwhile, some rights activists have called for an immediate investigation of the alleged killing of 11 Fulani men by some soldiers in Kachia local government area of Kaduna State. Mohammed Nura noted that the soldiers had no right to kill anybody without court order, calling for the probe of the military men involved in the killings. And police in Niger State have arrested a suspected bandits leader, Rabiu Yusuf, a.k.a. Rabi, at the popular Tungamala Market, Kwaikuru local government area of the state. The Commissioner of Police in the state, Shawulu Ebenezer Damama, disclosed this while parading different suspects arrested by his command. He said the suspected bandit was arrested on January 6 based on intelligence reports saying that during interrogation, the suspect confessed to a series of kidnappings he had participated in. He added that the suspect was a member of Muare camp of bandits terrorizing Beji, Mekunkele, Boso, Gau Babangida, Sangeku, Bangi, Gulu, and Lapai area of the state. He said the command arrested 14 other suspects for various offenses including kidnapping, arms dealing, armed robbery, car theft, raping and thuggery, and recovered various arms in the last few weeks. The police commissioner said the suspects were arrested after kidnapping a 20-year-old victim and collected 1.6 million naira as ransom. Also, River State Police Command said that it has apprehended a suspected notorious armed robber and court leader Silas Odereke in Odereke, Ahoda West local government area. Odereke, also known as General, according to a press statement issued in Port Harcourt on Sunday by the command's public relations officer, SP Grace Iringe Koko, had been on the run for the past 4 years, evading arrest. The suspect's reign of terror, according to the statement, came to an end when he resisted arrest and opened fire on the police, resulting in his death. Koko said, as the head of the Greenlanders cult group in the Ubie clan of Ahoda West, Odereke and his gang were infamous for their criminal activities, which included armed robbery, land grabbing, unauthorized sales of buildings, and brutal attacks on those who dared to oppose them. A former vice president and 2023 presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party, Atiku Abubakar, expressed profound sorrow over the tragic killing of Nabiha al-Kadriyar, who fell victim to her abductors in Abuja. Atiku, in a statement shared on his official handle on Sunday, emphasized the critical need for a revamped security architecture to effectively tackle the unchecked activities of kidnappers and bandits across the nation. He urged security agencies to escalate efforts in rescuing the remaining hostages, echoing the broader call for urgent security reform. The recent kidnapping of Mansour al-Kadriyar and his 6 children in the Buhari Area Council of the Federal Capital Territory underscores the severity of the situation. Nabiha, a 400-level biological science student at Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria, was laid to rest according to Islamic rites on Saturday. The kidnappers, who initially demanded a 60 million naira ransom, increased their demand to 100 million naira after Nabiha's tragic murder. The incident has triggered a public outcry on social media, with Nigerians rallying for justice and the release of the abducted siblings. And following President Bola Tinubu's 6-week suspension of the 4 programs under the National Social Investment Programs Agency, a special panel has been established, according to a statement by the presidential spokesman Ajuri Ngelale on Saturday. The coordinating Minister of the Economy and Minister of Finance, Wale Adun, will lead the panel. The presidential panel's primary mandate is to conduct a thorough review and audit of existing financial frameworks and policy guidelines for the social investment programs. The aim is to implement a comprehensive re-engineering of the financial architecture with detailed modifications to procedures guiding future program implementations. The multidisciplinary panel, which includes ministers representing strategic sectors, seeks to ensure a holistic approach to the reform effort. The audit is prompted by allegations of significant fraud involving Betta Edu, the suspended Minister of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Alleviation, her predecessor, Sadia Umar Farouk, and the former head of the NSIPA, Halima Shehu. All 3 are currently under investigation by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, the EFCC. The suspension of federal government social investment programs, including N-Power, the conditional cash transfer, and the school feeding program, has sparked concern among Benue residents. While some applaud their action, others emphasize the need for swift measures to alleviate the poor condition faced by families. Trust TV's Jimmy Adzande has more.
It has been a dramatic week of significant developments for the presidency, marked by a major shakeup in the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Alleviation, responsible for most social investment programs. President Tinubu has suspended all intervention programs in the ministry for 6 weeks as investigations continue. Benue residents expressed their support for the restructuring of the ministry, considering it a positive decision.
My wife, in particular, was one of the beneficiaries. When I was quoting her, she was an N-Power employee, or of course employee. Then, after marriage, the program wasn't going well. They were laid off. Then they recruited other people. But since the program was taken away from Obasanjo Sibanjo's office to the lady minister, the program has moved from it has nosedived from where it was going very well to a lower performance.
There are other persons out there that when their incentives such as these are coming forth, they won't be able to benefit, because the agents that are to direct these incentives to the person to the victims will now divert to themselves and for their people. So I feel the best empowerment is that Nigeria is endowed with a lot of resources, and everybody within his vicinity, within himself, he has what he can lay hands.
Some hope for prompt actions to reconfigure the programs in the best interest of Nigerian masses.
most of things that they are creating for beneficial. But many people are not benefiting because they don't have privilege to benefit all those things. Especially with disability, we don't have privilege. People in the rural area to connect with this type of beneficiary.
Banning it should be good, but not totally, because it will bring a lot of economic challenges to those who are beneficiaries. The program has been of a lot benefit to people who have engaged in it, and as such, we shouldn't suffer the standstill, because suspending is a standstill. The economy will be shaken.
The suspension of individuals handling the programs raises concerns and leaves much to be desired. How soon the intervention programs will be reactivated remains to be seen. Jimmy Azandi, Trust TV News, Makurdi.
The National Assembly has announced an extension of its ongoing recess with the resumption of members now slated for Tuesday, January 30th. In a statement issued on Sunday by the House spokesman Akin Rotimi, the lawmakers have an additional week to resume following an official communication from the Clerk of the House, Yahya Dansaria. The National Assembly proceeded on break on December 30th, 2023, shortly after passing the 2024 Appropriation Bill, and announced January 23rd, 2024 as the resumption date. You're watching the News Hour on Trust TV. Coming up ahead. Movie streaming services take over cinema patronage in Kano. Of course, this and more news after the break. Don't go anywhere. Thank you for staying with the News Hour on Trust TV. Now let's take a look at the top stories again. Army begins investigation into alleged extrajudicial killing of 11 Fulani in Kaduna State. And police arrest bandits leader in Niger State. Moving on to more stories now, Governor Abba Kabir Yusuf of Kano State has established a Kano Elders Council to act as an advisory body to the government. Sanusi Bature Dawakintofa, the Director General of Media and Publicity at the Kano State Government House, made this announcement in a statement. The Council of Elders is composed of former governors, deputy governors, Senate presidents, speakers of the House of Representatives, speakers of the State House of Assembly, deputy speakers, retired Supreme Court justices, retired Appeal Court justices, former chief justices of the state, former secretaries to the state government, and former heads of state civil service, all of whom are indigents of the state. The statement indicated that the council also includes the leadership of ulamas, the business community, traditional rulers, former heads of security agencies from Kano State, and other distinguished elders appointed by the government. The governor stressed that the leaders possess a wealth of knowledge, wisdom, and experience, and his administration will actively seek to benefit from their versatile experience. And clerics in Delta State have decried the hardship Nigerians are facing following the removal of petrol subsidy by the federal government. They are urging government at all levels to decrease the overall cost of governance in the country, attributing the financial strain on citizens to extravagant spending by different arms of government. Here's the report.
In separate interviews with Trust TV, the clerics lamented the consistently high and unsustainable cost of governance in Nigeria. They emphasized the increasing incapacity of millions of Nigerians to afford basic necessities and called on all arms of government to trim down unnecessary expenditures.
Cost of governance in Nigeria, not just in Nigeria, in developing countries, find that the cost of governance is really very high. Let's come back to Nigeria. You see, I wouldn't know what 3 senators per state are doing in Abuja that one senator cannot do. Or if we decide to stick to senator, why not let us abolish House of Rep? Because basically, you see, they are doing the same thing, duplication of duties. So and they all go with written of aids, with all manners of allowances and extra costs and the rest. So you see a senator going with fleets of cars, exotic cars. You see, commission, even ordinary councillor move around with escorts these days. So the earlier we reduce the cost of governance, the earlier we reduce the number of political aides these people have, the better. If we must have
to encourage people and to advise them to be very careful the way they waste money, even if as a government that you are not the money, but always understand that whatever you do today, you will one day account for it. So we should be very careful anytime we are being pushed to waste money.
They will be traveling as a governor with over 28. Are they going for crusade? It's not necessary. You can get 2 aides and travel with them. By then you are saving flight tickets, you are saving hotel accommodation, you are saving feeding. It's also a way of cutting covenant. And again, a person moving with almost 40-something cars because the governor on convoy, that is not it. It's extravagant. And
Others opine that in addition to corruption, mismanagement of resources is a significant issue contributing to Nigeria's current economic challenges. The clerics are calling for a reduction in wasteful expenditures and a more responsible approach to governance to alleviate the suffering of the average Nigerian. Jonathan Awai, Trust TV News, Asaba.
Thanks to Jonathan for that report. And in other news, the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency has intercepted a significant consignment of Canadian Loud, a potent synthetic cannabis strain weighing 111.2 kilograms and packaged in 324 bags in the Unicon area of Lagos Island. The seizure made during the conveyance for distribution in an unregistered Grand Caravan vehicle led to the arrest of a 42-year-old suspect, Taufik Yusuf. According to NDLEA's Director of Media and Advocacy, Femi Babafemi, the operation occurred late at night on Friday, January 12, 2024, based on credible intelligence. This comes on the heels of the arrest of another drug trafficking suspect, Godwin Thengod, at the Murtala Mohammed International Airport the previous day. Godwin, attempting to board a flight to Milan, Italy, was intercepted with quantities of codeine-based syrup and Rohypnol concealed in his luggage. The NDLEA further reported the recovery of 30,000 packs of tramadol, 225 milligrams consisting of 300,000 pills at the Sako import shed on January 12th. The consignment arrived from Karachi, Pakistan via KLM Royal Dutch Airline. The NDLEA's war against drug abuse advocacy campaign continued with sensitization lectures in schools, markets, worship places, and other locations across the country. And the Kwara State government is making moves to remove all illegal buildings close to Asa Dam and its environs, which pose unnecessary risks to human lives and property. The Commissioner for Water Resources, Usman Lade, dropped this hint in Ilorin during an unscheduled inspection visit to the Asa Dam area. According to a statement by the Assistant Press Secretary in the ministry, Adewoye Oluwatosin, the Commissioner specifically warned the residents of Asa Dam, Marina, and Las Vegas estates to stop any form of illegal construction close to the Asa Dam River, Marina estates, and its environs. And the Lagos State's task force has impounded no fewer than 344 commercial motorcycles, popularly called Okada, during a week-long raid in different areas of the state. The task force has also vowed to end the operations of the recalcitrant bike riders in the state. The agency's Director of Press and Public Affairs, Gbadeyon Abdul Rahim, disclosed this in a statement released on Sunday. The statement revealed that during the raid, the task force impounded 174 bikes in the Abule-Ado axis, 50 bikes in Lagos Island, 50 bikes in Berger/Grammar School, and 70 bikes were impounded in the Abule-Egba axis. And 2 persons have died after a truck crushed a motorcycle plying one way by Barracks bus stop inward Iyanoiba along Lagos-Badagry Expressway. The Lagos State Traffic Management Authority, LASMA, disclosed this in a statement on Saturday by its Director of Public Affairs and Enlightenment Department, Adebayo Taufik. He said LASMA operatives recovered the bodies trapped under an empty long-man diesel truck by Barracks bus stop along the Lagos-Badagry Expressway in Lagos. The evolving social trends are now challenging the traditional notions of gender roles ascribed to males and females in the society. While many embrace this shift with excitement, well, there are some who believe that the changing gender roles has negative consequences. Trust TV's Hamid Oyegbade has the report.
In typical traditional community settings, both males and females have their distinctive roles that come with some peculiarities. But perceived gender inequality became a very serious social phenomenon, leading to intense campaign against gender discrimination. This has prompted many women to dabble into roles traditionally played by men folks with the popular slogan, "What a man can do, a woman can even do better."
We've seen female mechanics, we've seen females driving korope, riding keke napeps and all, doing things that men do. We've also seen men doing professions that have been labeled as female professions. You know, we now have men who are into hairdressing, we have men who do makeup, who tie gele, we even go as far as being cooks, they are chefs.
Me, as a photographer and a cinematographer precisely, people find it fascinating to see me take pictures at events or do things that male do. There are actually other jobs that are major, people believe to be majorly male jobs that female or women are doing beautifully well.
Meanwhile, some believe that the changing gender role could affect some cultural beliefs with attendant negative consequences.
It affects some cultural belief, and it's also, for example, in the olden days, we know that female or women are the ones to be in charge of the kitchen, like cooking and all. But now males are now doing the work of cooking, helping their wives in the kitchen. So it might actually have another thinking, like is it now like females are now kind of lazy?
The economic situation in the country has placed more burden on families to generate more income, to take care of marital responsibilities. And I think this is the reason why so many women are going out of the home. And of course, it will have its own consequences, like the traditional roles of the women that are supposed to be at home, take care of the children, engage in professions that give them the time to take care of the family. And so when a woman rides korope or rides marwa or does some jobs that are so-called reserved for men, there will always be the consequence.
Many say the gender-changing role should be with caution so that more women can stick to feminine roles that will give them the ample opportunities to care for their children rather than competing with their male counterparts. Hamid Oyegbade, Trust TV News, Osogbo.
You're watching the news hour on Trust TV. We'll be back with more news after the break. Stay with us.
Rise of Africa, stand and
Welcome back. Now to more news happening across Nigeria. The age-long tradition of mass circumcision of boys is being revived courtesy of a lawmaker, Mohammed Bello Shehu, the member representing Fagge Federal Constituency. The circumcision of 1,000 boys, sponsored by the lawmaker, was launched on Sunday at Ofishingaladima Primary Healthcare Center, Fagge B Ward, with dozens of parents taking turns to present their children. Here's the report.
Circumcision in Hausa society is traditionally done during the Harmattan season. Circumcision is the removal of all or part of the foreskin from the penis. It has been of traditional and cultural importance to circumcise the male children between the age of 5 and 9 in a typical Hausa society. The circumcision period is usually celebrated in communal or individual pattern. In recent times, about 10 or 20 children that reach these ages may be circumcised in a single household, or it may involve a collection of children from different houses. The practice of circumcision is both cultural and religious in Kano and many northern states. Abubakar Ilyasu brought 2 of his male children, said he is grateful that his children are going to be circumcised. The culture of circumcision traced back to decades in typical Hausa society. It was an act that strengthened brotherhood and create more bond between members of communities. Usually, the sponsor takes all the children to his house after they have been circumcised and take care of them until they all heal, and special food is being prepared, especially meat provided to them on a daily basis. Once they all heal, a date is fixed to celebrate them, and new clothes were given to them to wear. A ceremony is usually organized for them, and hence they are all tagged mates as they fall within a certain age group to be identified as such.
Well, there you have it, an interesting circumcision story there. Still in Kano, cinemas once known for hosting a series of activities and accommodating people from different backgrounds are now living in shadows of their former selves. The cinemas are struggling with low patronage because of the availability of films on mobile phones and videos on-demand streaming services provided on the internet. In this report, Salim Ibrahim chronicles the rise and fall of cinema culture in Kano. Take a look.
The few cinemas that are still left in operation are now struggling with the lowest air patronage amidst rise and availability of mobile phones and internet connectivity. The few cinemas in operation now look very old, unkept and barely managed, as both building, seats and other things attached look very old and out of shape, dusty and tattered. Marhaba Cinema is one of the first cinemas in Nigeria located in Kano. It was built during the early 80s and it was the first cinema to be airing movies at that time. Although many advanced and improved cinemas have taken over, Marhaba Cinema will always be remembered as an iconic cinema in the history of Kano. However, the memories created at Marhaba by many, it is now standing as just a building that can be best described like a graveyard or an abandoned farm far from a village settlement. Though in the midst of many buildings and a market by the side, it could only be identified and related by those who knew it before. Marhaba Cinema was shut down more than 10 years ago, and currently it has been sold to an individual who has no intention of reviving it. The building is still standing with old padlocks glued to the doors and the surrounding taken over by weed.
Cinema has been a learning center where you go to learn new cultures and traditions of some people that are outside your immediate environment. It was not just for fun, but also for learning. The category of people that even go to cinema are adults as at the time because they can easily comprehend what is going on and they can learn. But now you see young people, due to change in lifestyle, going to watch things like football.
The activities of the cinema before is based on the learning a culture or other cultures from the other communities. That is why you see in most cases, you see the elder people used to enter the cinema because they enter not to learn the bad thing. No, they enter to learn the other communities' culture so that they will live peacefully together. That is the.
While some like the Marhaba have been closed down, others, like Plaza, have been wiped up from history as the building have been demolished and now a new plaza serving as a business environment has been replaced. El Dorado and Queen's Cinemas, all located in Sabangari area of Fage local government, are struggling to keep afloat despite the huge decline in patronage. The only patronage that keeps the places alive is football matches that are shown almost on a daily basis. However, they still lack customers to come in.
It was booming, bustling before now. Everything has gone down. What we are getting mostly now is from watching football. The market is no more. Honestly, as you know, almost everything has changed. I can always remember how it was before. Cinema is a place you go for lecture. When we were young, we used to see very influential and highly placed individuals going to the cinema. You will see judges, royal and traditional leaders, religious leaders, all going there. You will see a whole household led by their father coming to watch films and shows because there was a lot to learn from there. But now there is nothing like that.
When asked about patronage from producers of films and other shows, he highlighted that the decline in the culture of coming to cinema has contributed to the loss of confidence from producers as they don't make their business or money back. Salim Omar Ibrahim, reporting for Trust TV.
And the federal government is under pressure to revamp all refineries in the country as a crucial step in recovering and turning around the nation's ailing economy. Nigerians believe that the current period offers a prime opportunity for the Tinubu administration to ensure the functionality of all refineries, alleviating the hardships faced by the populace. Jonathan Awanyai reports.
In various interviews, citizens expressed dissatisfaction with the ongoing fuel importation under President Bola Tinubu, emphasizing its adverse effects on the economy and exacerbation of the prevailing forest crisis.
We had a crew taking crude to another country, then after distillation, you return to the nation. It increases the price of the end product. Federal government should look into it and make laws, encourage, and so that we can have functional refineries in Nigeria.
Whether it is NNPC or whatever, we now streamline whatever they do with the universities, and the students will be going there for the IT. Apart from that, they are good the job. Instead of leaving this country to another country for such jobs, we are here settled, helping our own nation. We are not just saying about, talking about benefits. It's an understatement. It's going to be of immense benefit to the use of this country.
You pick the raw material, the raw oil from here. You take it outside the country to refine and still buy it back from them. You know, making everything cumbersome for we the people living in the country. So it's better they look for a way to make our refineries work so that standards of living will be better and society will be better for it. Thank you.
They urgently called on the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation Limited to take decisive actions in repairing the country's malfunctioning refineries. Respondents argue that this is crucial for Nigeria to achieve self-sufficiency in oil production. Others lamented the impact of the fuel subsidy removal, asserting that Nigerians are feeling the economic strain and demanding prompt measures to mitigate the hardships caused by the policy. Jonathan Awahe, Trust TV News, Asaba.
The Vice President, Senator Kashim Shettima, has departed Abuja for the World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland. This was disclosed in a statement on Sunday by the Vice President's spokesman, Stanley Nkwocha, saying the trip was at the instance of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Now, according to the statement, the Vice President will join other political and business leaders across the world at the annual forum to discuss global socio-economic and development issues. Apart from the plenary session, Shettima is expected to launch the Private Sector Action Plan for African Continental Free Trade Area at the special session to be co-chaired by him. You're still watching the Trust TV News Hour. We go on another break, and when we return, we'll be serving you news from the international scene. Stay with us. You're still watching the News Hour on Trust TV. And on the global scene, Namibia has criticized Germany for its shocking decision to support Israel in the genocide case at the International Court of Justice brought by South Africa. As Israel's war on Gaza enters its 100th day, Namibian President Hage Geingob stated on Saturday that Germany's choice to defend Israel's actions in the ICJ regarding the genocidal acts against innocent civilians in Gaza and the occupied Palestinian territories is deeply troubling. A two-day public hearing at the World Court, the highest legal body of the United Nations, involved South Africa and Israel presenting their arguments. South Africa claimed on Thursday that Israel's offensive in Gaza aimed to bring about the destruction of the population, while Israel denied this accusation, stating that the military operation is not a state-led genocidal campaign. The Namibian presidency's statement expressed deep concern over Germany's decision, accusing Berlin of ignoring Israel's actions in Gaza, including the reported killing of more than 23,000 Palestinians and the displacement of 85% of the enclave's 2.3 million people amid acute shortages of food and essential services. The statement also reminded that Germany itself had committed the first genocide of the 20th century in Namibia between 1904 and 1908, resulting in the death of tens of thousands of innocent Namibians in inhumane and brutal conditions. Let's now join Adeniyi Ajishafe, who's standing by with Sport News.
Underdogs Equatorial Guinea extended their unbeaten record on all competitions to 7 matches following a 1-0 draw against Super Eagles of Nigeria at the Alassane Ouattara Stadium in Bimpe, Côte d'Ivoire. Nigeria wasted a glorious chance to break the deadlock in the 11th minute of the first half, while both teams worked to outsmart each other. Eagles goalkeeper Stanley Nwabali could not stop Equatorial Guinea from taking the lead against a run of play in the 36th minute as Ivan Salvador guided the ball into the bottom corner. Nigeria scored instantly to produce a well-crafted equalizer just from the restart. 2023 CAF Footballer of the Year Victor Osimhen rose to powerfully head home Ademola Lookman's floated delivery. Super Eagles flew out of the traps in the second half, if not for Equatorial Guinea goalie Izuzu Wono, who denied one-on-one effort from Zaidu Zanusi and Victor Osimhen from scoring. Goalkeeper Wono also rescued his nation on the verge of the final 20 minutes, keeping out Olayinan single-handed strike with a smart save. The draw hands Equatorial Guinea their first ever point against Nigeria in an international tournament. Super Eagles will hope to bounce back against host Côte d'Ivoire on Thursday, with the Elephants already topping Group A after beating Guinea-Bissau 2-0 on Saturday. That's Sport News. I'm Adeniyi Ajishafe.
Thanks to Adeniyi for sports news. And extending the conversation, I have in the studio with me Neil Sampson, a sports commentator who will be sharing and bearing his mind about Nigeria's game today. Welcome to the News Hour, Mr. Noel. So, of course, Salvador on the Guinea-Bissau side scored 36 minutes, and barely 2 minutes later, we saw our star boy Osimhen scoring in 38 minutes. But it's seeming like a lot of Nigerians are feeling quite disappointed at Super Eagles Jose Peseiro's side. First, let's get your reaction on the outcome of today's match, the first match for Nigeria indeed at the commencement of the African Cup of Nations.
Yeah, most Nigerians are actually disappointed, especially me if I'm to say the truth, because we actually expected we going to that match. We expected the match to be a walk away for Nigeria, not even having any issues. But so surprising, the Equatorial Guinea scored first. But what I was happy with the immediate response from Victor Osimhen and the assist from what is his name, Ademola Lookman. So, but most Nigerians are not happy because we expected the match to be an easy game for Nigeria. Because now, if we cannot win the Equatorial Guinea, we are drawing the Equatorial Guinea. How do we win the host nation, which is Côte d'Ivoire? We watched the match yesterday against Guinea-Bissau. You can see how Guinea-Bissau. You can see how they performed fantastically yesterday, and it's so disappointing that we are going into the game against them on Thursday, and we will be playing with either fear, because now we have to win the match if you have to qualify to the next round. Because if we don't win the match against Côte d'Ivoire, it's going to be difficult for us to qualify for the next round. And no, probably before now, Nigerians have been confident that okay, we'll start to count, do calculations with our point that probably if Nigeria win, if Ghana, Equatorial Guinea loses their match against Guinea-Bissau, we might qualify. And so it's really disappointing. So we just hope the coach and the players those try to mop up things and work hard in the next match.
But what do you have to say about team spirit? I mean, obviously from the match statistics, the post-match statistics, we saw that Nigeria had a total of 19 shots as opposed to the 7 shots on that Equatorial Guinea had. And then when we're talking about shots on goal, Nigeria had 7 as opposed to the 1 which Equatorial Guinea had, and which unfortunately led to the goal. And talking about possession, it's Nigeria had 51% of the total possession in the game, which means they actually dominated the game. But how come, despite the fact that we dominated this game, we still unfortunately could not find the net more times than we did during the game?
Yeah, big kudos to the keeper of Guinea-Bissau, Equatorial, which is Jesus. Where he played a very fantastic game. He saved goals from Olaino and Victor Sime specifically, apart from the one he missed, which he didn't even go close to the goal post. But having 51% of possession against Equatorial Guinea, to me, is a disgrace to us, because we are.
So you feel we still do?
We needed more. If you look at the statistics, Nigeria, what do you call it, Nigeria team, we worth 300 and something million. But we
obviously dominated the game. So
that was not domination for us.
Oh, okay.
That was domination.
I guess the question now is: are you expecting the players to perform better than today? Especially
the only player,
bearing in mind that we have such a large quantity of quality players who have come from all over the world to, represent this great country at the AFCON. But then again, aren't you worried about, because some people have complained about player psychology, team play and the likes of that. Do you have any worry as regards to team spirit, especially during the games?
Yeah, you can see how the players are playing today. I know the only outstanding player you can pick from this, you pick Halassan Yusuf. Apart from and he's out of they took him out of the match. We pray it's not a serious injury. Yeah, apart from Halassan Yusuf, Victor Sime, Ademola Lookman, probably you can pick our central defender Ekong. I don't think, apart from those 4 players I've mentioned, I don't think the other players will play well. You can see how Sime was running around the pitch, trying to hold to make everything well. But the players were playing, Nwobi, apart from the pass he gave to Osimhen, where Osimhen missed the goal and missed the opportunity there, and the other shot he played, immediately we started the match. I don't think he did anything. The goal they scored us against, they scored, he was there at the front of the player. Mark this guy, and you are doing. I don't know what to say, but I'm not actually happy with the performance. That 51 to me is a very poor possession. If we were to have it like 70-30, yeah, I would say okay, probably they played well without scoring, but 51. Equatorial Guinea 1.6 million in population, Nigeria over 20 million, and we are playing 51. No, the position is bad.
Oh, something. Sports commentator, thank you so much for your contributions and the news with regards to Nigeria's performance at the African Cup of Nations. Their opening game against Equatorial Guinea. I can see the clear disenchantments in your voice and of course some of your perspectives and contributions. We do hope that the Super Eagles will definitely do us proud and of course kick back and do better in the next game. Thank you so much for joining the news.
The pleasure is mine.
And before we go, well, here's the kicker. Coming from a humble background, Musa Otieno, one of Kenya's most successful footballers, is today giving back to the community through his charity organization, Kick Off to Hope, by providing a football program for kids, developing their football skills, as well as supporting their education needs. Take a look.
Nose. Head. 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 Nakuja hapo nene. Elija, enda pale. Si wewe. Ni huyu ndiye anaita huko. Naona bahati. Hayo dereva hiyo hapo. Twendeni hiyo timu yao haya huko kwa timu. Haya nyoa hiyo twendeni pale hiyo timu iko pale. Pita. Miles. Pita.
In high school, and it was a big story, first of all, in the school. They were teasing me, saying that how can a student get good money more than even the principal?
6, 7, 8, 9, 2, 3, 4.
Community, what are we doing in the community? And that's why we had the program, which is called the sewing class for the women. At the moment, you have in Kenya, and there is one in Burundi. And if you look at in Europe, there is one in Germany, and then the other one is in the US. Those are the guys who I played with when I played a small stint in the US. That was in Ohio, in Cleveland. And the fund is coming from the friends which I played with, but is both in Germany and in the US.
Sasa vile nilianza kutrainishwa na coaches, kaanza kujua, kaenda ma games mingi, patana na watu different. Sasa nikakuwa na moral na watu wengine wanaenda pale. Sasa pia mimi kanipea moral.
Na ball.
pia anatuambianga kitu kama hiyo. Alisema kuna vitu 3 muhimu kwa maisha yako. Nimalize career yangu tu vizuri na God, nirudi pia mimi nirudi nifanye kama yeye, ni give back to the community.
And that wraps up the news hour on Trust TV. Remember, you can follow us across all of our social platforms and join our live stream on YouTube for more news, programs, and documentaries. I'm Sakir Ibrahim. Thanks for watching. Have a good